Hi guys, I'm gonna scrapbook this picture today. This is, I think this is the original, and it's just a shot that I took of my daughter sometime through the week this week. Might have been Thursday, maybe, yeah, it would have been Thursday morning, I think. And I just really liked how the light was coming in and shining on her right here. So, and she was really involved she was on pbskids.org and playing some educational games on there and learning, mousing skills and that sort of thing. So this is my 5-year-old. She's going to be starting grade primary soon, and this is what she typically does: is she gets up and changes from her pajamas into the fanciest dress she can find, and she actually does walk around the house and go out to the grocery store and pretty much go everywhere dressed in fancy dresses and fancy shoes, wearing purses and necklaces, and she's a very fancy girl. So I wanted to capture kind of the early morning sun. It's early morning here now too. I have to get up super early if I want to scrapbook on weekends when my kids are around. So this is that same photo using a new app that I found this week called Jazz, and what it does is it puts a number of filters on your photos, and I just think this is so totally dreamy looking. I love it. And what it does is it puts, I think it makes a grid of 6 versions of your picture with 6 random effects on it, and then you can go in and you can pick your favorite, or you can pick 6 more or 6 more or 6 more until you find one that you like. But once you find one that you like, you can actually go into it and tweak it. Like, it's got lots of different settings, like brightness and hue and color and things that I don't know what they mean, like all kinds of technical things, and then you can actually tweak it and change it and like adjust the levels and turn things on and off and all that kind of stuff. So it can be very basic if you just want to pick from the ones that it gives you, or you can go in and make it more advanced if you want to. So I like that about it because, this was one that they just gave me randomly. I didn't have to do anything to this, so that was awesome. And I love this picture so much that I printed up 2 versions of it, and I also actually printed up 3 because she has a copy of it too in her bedroom. So I'm going to be scrapbooking this today, and I went to the art store and got some papers for layering, some fancy papers for layering, and of course these papers were like $1.50 a piece, and I'm getting home and thinking, I love this bag. This bag will make a nice layer. So yeah, maybe I should have just went there and bought like a 20-cent thing and gotten the bag. But look at these papers. I wouldn't buy much of this because it is expensive, $1.50 a page. But this paper has like little eyelet patterns on it, and I thought that would make a really nice layer behind something. So I got a couple of those, and then this is absolutely gorgeous. It's like a really soft, buttery yellow color. I don't know if my camera's even going to capture the color of it. There it is compared to white. And it has all of these little glass beads that, I never know what to do with those. I have some glass beads in my collection of supplies, but I never know what to do with them. And I don't even know how you would do something like this. I guess you could make this homemade, but I don't even know where to start. Maybe with spray glue, like if you just used spray adhesive and went and then glittered the stuff and sprinkled the stuff all over, it would probably make this pattern, and the beads would stick where the splatter of the glue went. So yeah, I guess that's probably how you'd make it yourself, but who wants to do that when you can pay $1.50 a page? Yeah, I might be figuring out a way to make it homemade, but really this is the kind of thing that I wouldn't use a ton of anyways. It's just like I said, it'll make a nice layer. And then they had this shimmery paper that's almost like, it's not really vellum, it is pretty see-through. You can see my hand through it, but it's got an iridescent coating to it. Yeah, my light's picking it up quite nicely, so you get a sense of that. So I just wanted to have a couple of fancier papers. I usually have like that handmade paper that has little flower petals, and I think it's called mulberry paper and that sort of thing, that I got at the dollar store a long time ago, but I've used up all of those things. And so I was looking for some interesting layers the other day and couldn't find anything, so that's why I headed over to the art store to get some of these. So I'm really pleased with these. You'll probably be seeing these, you know, these will probably last me a long time, like maybe 6 months or something, so it's not too bad. And like I said, I really want to use this paper bag because it's just so thin. Like I love this paper. It's not quite as thin as tissue paper, but it's thinner than regular paper, so it makes for an interesting layer. So I'm going to put you guys on fast forward and scrapbook this picture. So I'm starting with the Studio Calico Summer of '69 kit, which is the August kit of 2012. And I don't have any add-ons for this, although I did get the more pattern paper. So I do have 2 pieces of each pattern. So that's handy. I just thought I'd do that as an experiment just to see if I used enough pattern paper. So I'm just kind of going through and looking for some dreamy like colors and patterns that I could use with that really dreamy picture. And at this point I'm also going through and picking out some embellishments. I often leave the embellishments until last, but in this case I wanted to have a bit of a sense of what colors I'd be going with because that would help me with my layers. And this layout kind of went in a slightly different direction than what I was planning it to go in, but that's the awesome process of scrapbooking, right? Sometimes things don't go the way we plan and it ends up even nicer. This is actually one of my very favorite layouts that I've done in a really long time, so I'm really, really pleased with how all these layers turned out. I love all of these. So here I'm just using a ruler to tear the paper in a straight line. And I do that a lot when I'm doing layers, just it gives a slightly more interesting look to the edge. I did no outlining. Normally at this point I'd be outlining everything that's gonna potentially go on there. But yeah. Now the reason I switched those 2 pieces of paper is I didn't want that bright red circle there because I knew I was going to be putting a title there, and I thought I'd be using red letters for my title, so I didn't want to compete. I didn't want the red circle to compete with the red letters. So here I just cut that doily part so that I could play around with the placement of the top and bottom parts of it. And now I'm just taking extra pieces of that eyelet paper, just layering it in there really good with lots of different layers, I guess. And I'm trying to not be too stingy with my paper and really just kind of go to town with the supplies that I had taken out. That's one of the nice things about having a kit is that you don't really have to be stingy because you know that you're going to be getting a whole other bunch of really cool supplies in less than a month, so you might as well use them up. That's the approach that I've been taking since I've been part of the Studio Calico kit. So now I'm thinking here, and my cat is totally stealing the show. She's really, really cute. She's very old, and she's afraid of our dog, so she doesn't get a ton of attention. So I snapped a couple shots of her there. That's why I wasn't doing any scrapbooking. So sorry about that, guys. Now I just wanted to show you what these layers are looking like so far. There is a little bit of cat hair in them, but other than that, they're looking pretty good. Seriously, people, how am I supposed to scrapbook? This is where she sleeps while I walk away to get something. Maya, what are you doing? So I wanted to put a bunch of twine on this layout, and my hand was too small to make a circle that was big enough, so I just used a card there. So that might be a little bit confusing about what on earth that was that I was holding. That's just a card that I had made recently. And my twine does have little folds in it from where it wasn't wrapped on a circular
spool, and I actually kind of like that. At first I hated it, but I kind of like it. And I just pulled that piece of vellum with the heart punch outs on it from my scrap bin. I hang on to those embellishment negatives whenever you guys have seen me use those before, but I always hang on to them because they leave such a pretty negative. So now I'm just gluing down all of those layers and not outlining them. I'm just leaving them au naturel, um, and just slipping in that piece of Studio Calico paper. So the chevron on the very, very back is October Afternoon from the Woodland Park collection. And then the next bunch of layers are from those papers I bought at the art store. And then that circle paper is from Studio Calico. It's from the kit, and so is the chevron on the back. These are all from the kit except for the art paper and that piece of vellum. And so now I'm just going to show you the layers up close now that I've got them. And the doily was also from the kit. Almost everything on this layout is from the kit except for all those yummy papers that I showed you at the beginning that came from the art store. So I've got the October Afternoon paper on the back, and then some eyelet paper and that glass bead paper and the Studio Calico circle paper, and then a piece of vellum. And I just put the twine in between the vellum and the Studio Calico paper. So that's what she's looking like so far. And now I'm just going to work on putting a couple of interesting elements around the outside. And I love the look of that noted speech bubble. Even though you don't get to appreciate the fact that it is a speech bubble, I like the noted circle there. And I'm just kind of, because I've got so many layers there, I'm putting down in that left corner, I'm putting a different element layered in between each of those papers so that the layered embellishment isn't layered upon itself, it's layered within the layers of the main bunch of layering. Oh my God, that's very confusing. I hope you guys follow that. So these are basic gray chipboard letter stickers that also came in the kit, and I love, love, love them. They're one of my favorite. Red is one of my favorite colors, and yeah, so I'm just doing the bottom part of that title with my label maker, only I have a cursive font for that, and I really wanted to use cursive. I'm spelling out the word beauty, and that was actually my Facebook post when I put this picture up, when I originally took it. And so I had put the word beauty in a cursive font, and it just came out too small. I did like it in cursive, but the font was just too small. So this other font that I have another label maker of is just a more bold font, and it comes out bigger, so a little bit easier to read for a title. So it says Morning Beauty at this point, and I haven't decided to add the word early at this point. And now I think is when I decide. Really, I just wanted a chance to use those October Afternoon mini market stickers, and I'm like, I need to add a word, so I picked the word early because it was early morning. So yeah, I really like the 3 different fonts on this title. It really kind of gives it a little bit more than just the 2. And just playing around with some of those embellishments, trying to figure out what else it needs. I knew I wanted to do a lot of layering, but this is a bit of a hump for me. I had trouble at this point figuring out what that layering would look like. So I decided to put the date on that little tab that came in the kit. It's a Studio Calico tab, and I stamped the date and then the year separate. That's why you saw me stamping 2 different times. I'm just using a file to take the little knobbies off of it, and attached it with my tiny attacher, and then I'm putting those little cabochon flowers that came in the kit it's always hard to use those really, really pretty one-of-a-kind supplies that come in these kits, but you gotta kind of jump in and use them at some point. And that's always a challenge for me, but I try to not let myself hoard them because there's more stuff coming. So what I did here was I just grabbed my Project Life. I don't know what I call that. It's my green Project Life thing that I keep stuff in. Um, and I just wanted a couple of little knickknackies to put every here and there. So I've picked out the number 5 because my daughter's 5 years old in this picture. And those are pretty little studio pinked circle numbers. They're really, really cute. And Kate sent me those. Thanks, Kate. And I just really love the 5 peeking out of the corner there. Just love, love, love it. And then those are those clouds. What are those clouds? They are Elle Studio or Avalicious. I think they're Avalicious. Could be wrong. And then that chipboard butterfly and the 2 chipboard corrugated pieces are from Michelle. I don't know the manufacturer on those, but Michelle M. Mac Kent sent them to me. She's M. Mac Kent on YouTube. Thank you, Michelle. And so now I really wanted to use that that arrow. I think it just added a little bit of boldness. It was too soft without the, did I just call it an arrow? That parenthesis. And it was just, I really liked what the parenthesis added. So I ended up tearing off the cabochons, and that made me end up covering up that date that I had stamped and stapled on, but that's okay because I'm going to put the date someplace else later. So I'm just going to work with the placement of that and trying to decide, am I going to keep it? Am I going to put those cabochons back on and forget about the bracket? So I was just kind of doing a bit of experimenting there. And while I think about it, I'm just going to kind of try to figure out, well, if I do cover up that other date tab, where else could I put a date tab on this? So once I came up with that blue one there, it looks okay. So I decided to go ahead and cover up the other date tab. And the little yellow bit of the hexagon is still sticking out, and it provides a bit of a background for those flowers. I just grabbed that white cabochon from my own stash. It came in that green Project Life bin there. It came in a Scarlet Lime kit quite some time ago, probably 2 years ago or so. And then I just use my Martha Stewart punches that I never use. I really only ever use those at Christmas time, just to put a bit of foliage around the flowers, which I never do, but just something different. And I'm using my Zig Mono Multi, no, it's Tombow Mono Multi adhesive, and then I just pulled out, that's a little envelope of Banana Fish Studio goodies from Kate, from Craftin' Kate, and I also grabbed that tag that I'd forgotten about. That white tag way in at the top is from the Studio Calico kit. That arrow that I ended up putting on there with the brown background, it's a white arrow on a brown background, is from Banana Fish Studio that Kate sent me. And then I'm just cutting a little piece of scrap paper into a flag that I'm going to put behind that camera, which is from Banana Fish Studio. I'm going to put something there. I don't know what. Sorry, my phone is making some noises at me here. I guess I'm putting the date. And just doing a little bit of shadow stamping, or whatever you call that, second generation stamping or whatever. Layering the little banner underneath of the camera embellishment and gluing things down. I'm going to put those cabochons back on with glue dots, and now I just zoomed in a little bit closer. I hope you see all the action here. I kind of get in the zone and I don't always pay attention to the camera when I'm scrapping. I couldn't get that tag back into the place where it was supposed to go, so I ended up just putting it on the back layer. I just added some adhesive to that 5 and stuck it down. And now I think I'm putting adhesive, that little yellow hexagon, and I'm going to layer that blue tab that says remember. And there's that Banana Fish Studios look arrow. Again, that remember tab is from the Studio Calico kit. So I'm just going to staple it on with my tiny attacher, which I ran out of staples for, I think, or maybe not, I can't remember. And now I'm just attaching that tag at the very, very back. I love what that little pink chipboard butterfly adds to this layout in the very back there. And then I just took the 2012 flare badge that came in the kit, and that was the last thing that I added there, right over there by the yellow cabochon. And now I'm just going to roll up the edges of some of these papers, and I'm going to use a marker just so that I don't bend them. I didn't want them bent, I wanted them rolled. So sometimes I don't care and I like them bent, so I just do it with my fingers then, but I wanted them to have a nice soft look, so I rolled them around the pen. And then the hexagons, of course, roll more straight, so I use my fingers for that. Just bringing up all the edges to emphasize all those yummy, yummy layers. And I think I'm done. Am I done? Oh no. Right. So now that I have all of my layers done, I'm going to do my misting or my splattering on the background. I actually don't think I misted this one, I just splattered it. So I took note of the 3 clusters that were on that big hunk of layered stuff and tried to spray around them. And then I realized I hadn't quite gone far enough. Most of that is going to be covered up by the layout, so I wanted to make sure that some was far down enough that it would be seen. And it is. So I'm going to, I did let that dry in between. And now I took that tape, and the reason I took off so much of it, this is the tape from last month's Studio Calico kit. It had the days of the week on like a clear shiny tape, and I took so much of it because if you take only a bit, it tends to leave lines where it bent, and so I had to take off a huge enough strip that I wouldn't get any lines on a Thursday, because I needed Thursday to be showing there, because that's the part that I wanted. And then I just added some of those Say It in Bling or Say It in Gems or whatever that's called by Prima, and added those around. I love how they kind of continue the splatter from the back of the page onto the more dimensional elements. I just love that. And now I can't really remember if I added anything else at this point or if I'm just going to show it. I think I'm just going to show it. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. Just leave me a message if you have any questions or comments about this layout. Yeah, I think I explained all of this stuff. That little black polka dotted half circle is from the October Afternoon chipboard pieces that came in the kit. And then I think everything else I explained. If I forgot anything, just let me know. Most of the layered pieces over here in this right-hand cluster are from the Studio Calico kit. So that blue hexagon and the yellow chevron circle and the pinked paper in behind, the pinked circle with the 1, 2, 3 on it, are all from the kit. And then that star is something that Michelle sent me, as is that chipboard butterfly. The yellow noted speech bubble that ends up being a circle is also from the kit. It's from Studio Calico. The 5 is from Pretty Little Studio, and all of the tabs are from Studio Calico. So thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.